Okay, gang, so I'm just doing this video as kind of an update to a live stream that we did last week. We did a marathon live stream, a 6-hour live stream, Dave and I, doing the rebuild and reorganization of this rack here with some of the gear. And so for folks that don't want to sit through a 6-hour live stream and see the entire detail, if you want to see it all step by step, how we ripped the whole rack down, took it all apart, rewired it, did a whole bunch of cable management stuff, which I want to show you in this video. I'll link that in the description box below. But for you that just want to see kind of a shorter video, I want to take you through. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take you around the back of the rack and show you all of the wire management that we did. And then I'll take you back here around the front and show you how we kind of reorganized things, and we added a new rack, as you can see, on top with a couple of new pieces of gear. And so let's do that. So we're just going to take the iPhone, we're going to come back here, and I'm going to show you. So if you have not seen the first video that I did called Cable Management, my rat's nest of wires or something like that, you can go watch that and see what we did there. This was kind of phase 2. So what we were able to achieve here, as you can see, that there's really almost no wiring, no cabling at all on the floor anymore. So let me show you what we did here briefly. So hopefully the lighting is going to be okay. I'm sorry the shaky camera work here. So the first thing we did is we added rack rails to the back of the rack. So these racks did not come with rails. So we added 12 space worth of rack rails, okay, on both racks. So you see the rack rail here, here, and then on the second rack here, and then the other side. And what we did is we add these wire management, these rack mountable wire management or wire cabling system here. So it's just a piece of aluminum with these openings here that you can open up and you can route cables through them. Okay, and we have several of these on both racks. So we have one up here for all the power wires. So all of our power wires to all our gear is coming down, going through this rack and going over to our power strips, which I'll show you in a second. And then we have another one here that's being used just a little bit here. We have another one down here on this rack, and all the D-subs are being routed and comes up and goes into the different pieces of equipment. And what this really allowed us to do is not only keep all the cabling off the floor, or most of it, as I said, but really what it's achieved that all of these connections now to all the gear, there is no more strain on any of the cables. All the strain relief that this provides is really great. So it makes it a neat way to get your cabling off the floor, and it also then provides so you're not tugging on the cables, because everything is kind of up in the air and relieving the strain, which is important when you have this many connections. Here's all the connections to the 500 series rack in the back, the West Audio rack. Okay, so that's the first thing we did. And as we come over to the second rack here, you'll see if I can get back here. So there's a lot more cables here. I know it looks like a big rat's nest, but it is kind of organized. So on the bottom here is all of our audio interfaces, the Apollos. And again, you can see all of the D subs, everything is labeled. Get that out of the way. I'll try to get that one out of the way. Everything is labeled here, so you can see everything. So all the D subs come from behind the board, kind of in this big, pull back a little bit, this big bundle. This is actually going to be eliminated this week. We're not using that anymore. But just comes down here, goes along the grounds, and then just comes up into the Apollo. So there's no real strain relief on any of these D subs. The rest of them are going into, again, these wire management system here, this cabling channel. And these are all going to the patch bays, which I know will be difficult to see because there's so many D subs here. But here's all the patch bays in blue, the switchcrafts. So everything is going into the patch bays here. You can see them all in there. So you'll see there's 3 patch bays stacked on top of each other. And again, no strain relief on any of these cables now because of the way we routed them through this cable management. Okay, so all the power cables again run across the top. We have a cable management bracket here on this rack, and then on this rack, and everything just runs straight across. Now again, if you go watch the live stream, you'll see this done. We filmed this in stages so you can see it as it kind of came together. This is just kind of the after, and I just wanted to kind of show you. So the lesson here is, or the information I'm trying to pass along to you if you care, is that having rack rails mounted with these cable, this is probably the one you can see the best because we don't have it completely full yet, And getting these cable management racks really is a great thing. And these cable management racks are all made out of aluminum. They're about $15, $12–15 each. The rack rails were probably $20 for each rack. So I spent about $100 between the rack rails and the cable management. And so that works pretty well. So again, if I stand up here, and then I just added these little clip-on lights. So when you want to see stuff, you can just, 2 clip-on lights, you can see everything. But so again, we went from cabling all over the floor to all up in the racks now. And again, most importantly, no strain relief, or there's no strain on any of these connectors. Everything is very, very little strain. Nothing's pulling on anything. It really worked out quite well. So that's the back of the rack. And we'll just show you one more time here. Again, I apologize for the, and again, there, yeah, obviously it looks like, wow, that's a whole rack, whole mess of cables. Well, it is. There's no way to have this much equipment and not have all these cables, but it's not all over the floor. It's organized and everything is labeled, so that's great. So now if I come around the front, here is the new rack setup. So let me start on the left and I'll go from the bottom up. So what we did is we moved all the audio interfaces, the 3 Apollos, to the bottom. And the reason why we did that is because you don't really put your hands on them. You don't ever really have to touch them. They're just there. So we have the 3 here, okay? Above that on a shelf is the computer that runs the whole setup, the Mac Mini M1, a couple of SSD drives, a main drive and a backup, and then there's a Thunderbolt extension port in the back. Then above that we have our 3 power conditioners. Okay, and I've talked about these before. These are great, the M8Ss. These are by Furman. These are delayed, so they're in 3 banks. So when you turn them on, they come on in stages. Not all the equipment comes on at once. So we have 3 of those. And then the real main reason for doing this whole project, aside from the cable management in the back, was we wanted to get our patch bays, which used to be down here, up in the air where we can use them more easily. So we can patch pieces of gear in and out. So we're able to do that. So we have 3 Switchcraft patch bays, a 96 point and 2 48 point. A 9625, and then we have 2 6425s. And the reason why they're not labeled is because I have the little clear, I have a labeling program, and we're going to label all of these so it'll be nice and easily labeled. So now you can, sitting in the chair, you can just wheel over here and easily see and patch things in and out. So that was the main reason for doing this whole project. So now the patch bays are here. Okay, so that's that one rack. If we go up, or we'll go to the other side. So we have our other rack now here. And on the bottom, we have some open spaces here for future expansion. I just got some blank plates. We have the West Audio NG bus compressor. And again, that's kind of down low to the ground because that is all digitally controlled with a plug-in in the DAW. So you don't need to get down here and turn the knobs by hand, although you can. Then we have the West Audio 500 series rack with the Dione compressor, the RIA compressor. And then we have this, the Radial Ecstasy, which allows us to kind of insert guitar pedals and stuff. We haven't really used that much yet, but that's a really cool piece we're going to play with. And then we have some empty spaces here in the 500 series for future expansion. Right here we have a blank space here. There's going to be a reverb unit, a hardware reverb unit coming from audio-scape very soon, which are going to go right there, and we'll do some videos on that. Then we have the SSL Fusion, which is on the master bus. Okay. And then we have these 2 top racks. Okay. The first one here, we have the ART Trans Y. Right now that's being patched into our background vocal bus. We have the Bluey by Black Lion Audio, which again right now it's not patched into anything. We can patch it wherever we want now that we moved the patch bays where they're actually usable. So we'll be able to use the Bluey, put that wherever you want. And then above that we have our latest piece here, audio-scape, the V-Comp Plus, which is their version of the Stay Level. There's a video on that on the channel, you can search that out. Again, that can be patched anywhere we want. If we go over to the other side, we have the Opto Compressor by audio-scape, their LA2A version. Again, can be patched wherever we want. Then we have the Aphex 204s. We have 2 of them, one for kick snare, the other one's for toms. Those are being inserted on the tom and kick channels, kick, snare, and tom channels. And then we have our 2 distressors that are stereo linked together, and those are going right now to one of our guitar buses. But again, you can patch any of this stuff anywhere, really, any way that you really want to do it. So that is the racks. So that is kind of the finished product, if you will, for now. We have no other gear except for the reverb unit coming in, and now we have everything really that we really need to just continue to keep mixing. And now with the patch bays being, you know, more flexible, we can patch any of these compressors into any of the inserts. The way we have this set up, and once I get all these things labeled, I'll shoot another video, but this second patch bay here, the second one, this one is going to be all of 32 inserts, sends and returns on the console, right? Channels 1 through 32, and that's going to allow us to patch any of the gear into any one of those channels. So you could put these compressors in anywhere you want, which is great. So that is our wire management and our rack rebuild. Hope you guys found this helpful and useful. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if there's other types of videos that you want to see, let me know. And I will link all the wire cable management stuff that I bought on Amazon in the description box below as well. So until next time, I've been Dave with Mixing Music Analog and mixingmusicanalog.com. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you soon.